If Anakin Skywalker went to Mandalore, if Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi accompanied Ahsoka Tano to Mandalore, then the invasion force would have been much bigger because they would also have Commander Cody and the 212th, along with the entire 501st with Captain Rex. And so there would be a huge war in Mandalore. Meanwhile, above Coruscant, Yoda, Mace Windu, Saesee Tiin, Kit Fisto, Agent Kolar would go to rescue Palpatine. Agent Kolar, Saesee Tiin, and Kit Fisto would kill General Grievous, while Yoda and Mace Windu kill Count Dooku, and Palpatine would return to Coruscant with the Jedi. Now, Palpatine Sidious would be angry to hear that Anakin is on Mandalore, and Palpatine Sidious would insist on continuing the war, and Palpatine would use the excuse that the Separatist Council is still at large to continue the war, and of course Palpatine would hide the Separatist Council as long as he can. And meanwhile on Mandalore, Obi-Wan Kenobi would fall into one of Darth Maul's traps, because Obi-Wan Kenobi always falls into Darth Maul's traps. And Anakin Skywalker would follow Obi-Wan Kenobi because Anakin Skywalker is incredibly reckless and hot-headed, and he rushes and he never thinks things through. And so Anakin, being as reckless as he is, would also easily fall into Darth Maul's trap. Ahsoka Tano would follow Anakin, and Darth Maul would kill Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Ahsoka Tano. They would all die. And I think that Darth Maul would probably choose to leave Mandalore in this scenario, but he would take Gar Saxon, Prime Minister Almec recast, and all his Mandalorian followers with him. And Darth Maul would allow for Bo-Katan to take over Mandalore. And I think Darth Maul would probably go to another neutral system. There were about a couple thousand neutral systems, and Darth Maul would play victim, and he would say that Mandalore neutral system was unjustly invaded by the Republic, and that all the neutral systems have to rally together. And of course, he would use Prime Minister Almec as his puppet. And so Darth Maul would have his criminal empire, Crimson Dawn, the Shadow Collective, all his loyal Mandalorian warriors, as well as the crime, as well as all the other power bases that he has, and Darth Maul would rally all the neutral systems around him. And he would build an army with the neutral systems. And meanwhile, Darth Sidious and the Jedi are preoccupied with each other. I think in this case, Yoda would have stayed on Coruscant. I think he would have just sent Luminara Unduli to Kashyyyk with a bigger clone force, maybe, because Yoda would be more concerned with what's going on with Palpatine and with Anakin and Obi-Wan off-world. I don't think that Yoda would also decide to go off-world. I think he would decide to stay and prioritize. And so the Jedi and the Sith would learn that Anakin has died and that Maul killed Anakin. And of course, Sidious would be furious, and Yoda and Windu would be a little troubled. And meanwhile, the Jedi Council would locate the Separatist Council, and the Jedi Council would go and kill the Separatist Council, and the Jedi Council would deactivate all the droid armies after killing the Separatist Council. And then the Jedi Council would go to Darth Sidious and tell him to give up his emergency powers and resign from the Chancellorship. And that is where Darth Sidious would reveal himself to be the Sith Lord, and Darth Sidious would fight the Jedi Council, and he would kill them all. Darth Sidious would kill them all, and then Darth Sidious would march on the Jedi Temple, execute Order 66, and all the clones would turn on the Jedi, exterminate the Jedi, and Darth Sidious would kill every single one of the Jedi that he fights. Meanwhile, Darth Maul would rally the Separatists to his side as well, and he would promise to free them from the oppression of the Republic. And Darth Maul would also reach out to many disaffected Republic systems, and Darth Maul might even try to reach out to the senators who are dissatisfied with Darth Sidious. And by the way, of course, Padme Amidala would have immediately died the moment that she heard Anakin is dead. Padme Amidala would have lost the will to live, she would have miscarried Luke and Leia, and Padme would have died. So maybe Darth Maul will just reach out to Mon Mothma and Bail Organa. And so Darth Maul, with his criminal empire as well as his Mandalorians, as well as the neutral systems, and now much of the Separatist Republic, he would wage an all-out war against Darth Sidious, and he would try to starve Darth Sidious as much as possible. And there would just be a huge battle between Darth Maul and Darth Sidious's forces. And even though Darth Sidious is way more powerful than Darth Maul, because Darth Maul would have the neutral systems under his thumb, as well as the sympathy of many separatist systems and many disaffected Republic systems, I think Darth Sidious would have a very hard time trying to contain and keep control over all of that, and eventually it would just be a very costly war, and who would come out on top is debatable. However, Darth Maul would definitely do a lot of damage to Darth Sidious, and if he played his cards right, he could defeat Darth Sidious in this scenario, because it is all about political power in this case. So if Darth Maul kills Anakin Skywalker, then that really removes a big piece of the puzzle, and just Anakin being on Mandalore alone is very significant. So I think that Anakin going to Mandalore could have had some very, very drastic results, to say the least.